The situation in Africa seems to be the same in most of the countries where the military has taken power and they tend to create transitions. Some of the transitions are very complicated, some are very simple, and I have not seen of late in the last 20 years where the military has handed over power to a civilian situation, except in a few cases where the military only changes hands with another military situation, another coup coming in from another military. This is being witnessed in most African states, especially the French-speaking countries, where military coups and counter-military coups and coups coming in place of smooth transition. There has never been a smooth transition which I have seen on record. But the one of Sudan faces many challenges. A smooth transition where the military is insisting we need a full control that some people cannot be part and parcel of this transition. The force for change in Sudan, therefore faces a long wait in getting this power back to the civilian hands. But what are the obstacles? Sudan faces international sanctions. Their economy is very bad. The economy has gone to nothing but people. It brings only riots on the streets of Khartoum. They don't have foreign exchange. They have no dollar exchange. Sudan has no credit facilities from the Western countries. Obstacle number two, the interference by external interests, namely from France, America, has made it very difficult for the stability of this country called Sudan. How long will this take? We don't know. The next obstacle that Sudan faces is the question of International Criminal Court and President Bashir, whether to hand him over to the ICC or try him in the local tribunal, local court of in Khartoum. It would be very advisable for General Burhan to look at all aspects of which way to go, because the handing over the General Bashir to the ICC will mean that they will come back to hound all of them who took part in the Darfur war. Is it therefore necessary for them to sit down and hammer an agreement that will allow General Bashir to be tried on the soil in Khartoum, since Khartoum has got enough courts and enough judiciary officers who can try crimes against humanity in Khartoum without presenting General Bashir to the International Criminal Court? It is my own observation that these are some of the factors. And of course, the war by the name around that surrounds South Sudan. In South Sudan, there is a fragile peace process. In the east, Ethiopia has a fragile situation. In the north, some parts of Libya, where Libyan border meets Sudan, there is a fragile situation. In Chad, west, there is a very fragile situation where the military and the rebels are still fighting for control of this territory of Chad. The situation, therefore, boils down to how determined the African Union can help a transition in any African country. How long shall we wait for a transition, yet the civilian people are agitating all the time? They are still on the streets every Friday, like tomorrow. There will be more after prayers pouring on the streets. Tear gas canisters have been used. Many of them have got injured, maimed. Some have lost their lives because of demonstrations. Is it time for the West to lift sanctions, especially economic sanctions that they put on Sudan, such that Sudan can have its own access to the European markets and American markets, such that Sudan can trade with other partners in the currency that is recognized by the international banks and International Monetary Fund and other institutions. If this is not done, we risk another problem in Khartoum and in Sudan, where there could be another coup, where there could be a backlash from protesters who have actually for the last 2 years have constantly stayed put in the capital city, Khartoum. Is it the best way? Can there be the best way to a smooth transition in Sudan? The answer is possibly it can. But the only thing to do is to lift sanctions against Sudan, such that this country can facilitate its economic might, can export its goods, trade with other partners without restrictions that the Americans have put on this great country. I land the mic by saying, long live Africa. Africa will shine, rise and shine again if some of these obstacles are removed from some of the major countries that produce food for the rest of the continent, that starvation will be the matter of the past if Sudan is allowed to buy, to dig, to grow, to trade with other countries in the region. I land my mic. Thank you.